Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Yes, I know that it's a little bit too late for my Christmas tree to still be there, but it makes me happy. I like to see it, and it's a plastic tree, so it actually can stay there forever. So for now I'm okay with the tree being there. Sooner or later I will remove it. But anyway, I'm here to talk about the Brutalis Dreadnought. I fell in love with this miniature since the moment that it was announced, since the moment that I first saw it, and I knew that I wanted to get one. So when it finally came out individually, I went for it and I got it, and that's why I really want to share the experience with all of you. And in this video what we're going to do is that first of all, we are going to do an unboxing of the miniature, we're going to check what's inside, then we're going to assemble the miniature, and finally we will compare it with the Redemptor Dreadnought and the Ballistus Dreadnought. So let's start! Here we have a closer look of the box, and since now I can say that this is exactly the Brutalis Dreadnought that I want to build with this box, because it's the one that I like the most. I love the pose and I think that it looks majestic in the charge, so this is the one that I will try to do. And as usual, if we look at the back of the box, we have more information. As always, we have a 1:1 scale, and this is something weird for me because this is the one that appears in the cover of the box, but here it's addressed as the variant. I think that it should be the opposite. This one should be here and this one should be here addressed as the variant, because we can see that this one is the one that has like the heavy bolters and have like the different fists. But it's not even an issue, it's just something that I noticed. So with that being said, we can take a look at the inside of the box. Here we have the instructions, but I'm going to take a look at them a little bit later. First I want to focus in the sprues. So of course we have the base for the Dreadnought, and then we have here the fun parts. I can see already here that we have the multi-meltas, we have the heavy bolters, we have the cover of the sarcophagus. I think that this is for the legs to assemble them on it, and this is the main part of the body as well. Here we have, I think it's part of the weapon that will go on top. Covers of the Dreadnought. It's such a, I honestly think that the Dreadnoughts are one of the best kits that Games Workshop has. We have like a lot of different customization options in terms of pose. It's quite easy to change the pose of a Dreadnought, and that's amazing. That's great. I think that this is another part of the legs. Lots of detail. We have different covers. We have one here and another one here. I'm not sure for which one I will go. And yes, more multi-melta parts. We have the back of the miniature here. Lots of parts of the inside, I guess. Here we have a lot of parts of the, I can see the one of the feet here, and I can see a lot of parts of the hands, arms, let's call it in a way. We have here the claws, we have here the normal fingers. It's cool. And here is where the magic begins. Here we have the instructions for the Dreadnought, and it's impossible for me not to notice that here in build variants we have a clear differentiation between the two hands, but there's no between the multi-melta and the heavy bolter. I know that they don't have to address everything, but it's something that I can notice. I mean, here we can see already that we can choose the weapon that we want for the chest, and actually this is something that I like a lot about this specific kit, because for example with the Redemptor Dreadnought there's not such a huge difference between the weapons in the chest. Here there's a much bigger difference. Again, it's not a huge difference, but it's like a bigger difference. We have the multi-melta that it's more focused into close proximity enemies that will have higher toughness, and this one will deal a lot of damage. And then we have the heavy bolter that it's more about into long range and heavy infantry. So it's always nice to have those kind of options. And here we have more instructions about how to assemble everything. Again, I like these kind of things that we can have it closed and opened. We are not going to glue it, so it's something that we will be able to move freely, which is nice and interesting. I don't like to view the sarcophagus inside, but I'm happy with the possibility of opening it and looking at it. It's not bad. And I want to say that I like this weapon and I like how it looks on top of the Dreadnought. Then what we mentioned, that we have, they even are telling us here that we can have like 2 different poses for the legs depending on what we decide to do. And here we will have how to do it properly. There's not much interesting here. This will be more important when I'm building it. But for now we are just watching how it looks. So yes, a lot of things. There's a lot of parts that they don't require glue, so we can move them nicely and freely. That's always nice. See, this is such an amazing, good job to whoever that designed these Dreadnoughts. They look fantastic, and here's one of the most important parts that we can choose between the main weapons of the Dreadnought. And again, see, we have the no glue signs, so we can move the arms freely. It's always nice. And then we put everything together and we just add the decoration to it, and then we will have one fantastic, nice, good looking Dreadnought. Before comparing the Brutalis Dreadnought with the Ballistus and the Redemptor, I thought that it was very important to show this image because, as you can clearly see here, these two are almost exactly the same Dreadnought. I mean, they look almost exactly the same. They have exactly the same torso, they have exactly the same legs. The only difference is that they are carrying different weapons, okay? But aside from that, they are exactly the same chassis. It's almost the same vehicle, it's just that they have different weapons. And I think that that's quite important because when we add here the Brutalis Dreadnought, we can clearly see that it's much more different, not only in terms of weapons but also in terms of how it's done. Here we have 3 of them. They are in different position in their bases. That's why I try to put them shoulder by shoulder, because like this it's going to be easier to spot the differences between all of them. And I have to say that the Brutalis Dreadnought, it's more different than I expected. I thought that it was almost the same, but no, it has differences, and to me they make perfect sense. As I said earlier, the differences between the Ballistus Dreadnought and the Brutalis Dreadnought are not that big. They are almost the same, except that they have different weapons. But with the Brutalis Dreadnought, we can clearly see that there's a difference in the pattern here and in the Dreadnought chassis itself. It makes sense, okay, because this is a shooting platform. This is more like a mix between a shooting platform, but also you have like one arm in case that you need to engage into melee combat the enemy. But I consider this one to be more a shooting platform as well. A shooting platform that can defend itself in combat if necessary. But this one is not a shooting platform at all. This one needs to be close to the enemy. This one needs to run to the enemy, charge the enemy, and the closer to the enemy, the more danger. So it makes sense that this one looks chunkier, because of course here we have more armor in the legs of the Dreadnought. That makes sense. If you have damage in the legs of this one cannot be in one spot. This one can stay and shoot, this one can stay and shoot, but no, this one needs to run against new enemies every time. And we can also see that in the front part as well. We can see that this piece is different. It's like more armor here on top of the sarcophagus. I mean, this piece shouldn't fit here, so it looks different. And as well, when we compare this part over here with this one, we can see that this one is bigger as well. Same with this one, we can see that this one looks more protected, and I'm happy that it looks chunkier and it's not exactly the same with different weapons. That's a good point in my opinion. And for example, even if this one has a tactical rock, even if this one has a weapon on top as well, this one is going to look taller, because of course we have this here that it's impossible not to notice. And with that being said, I want to repeat the same. I'm surprised. I thought that they were going to be more similar, and I'm happily surprised that they are different. So that's something that I really, really appreciate. I cannot stop looking at this Dreadnought because it looks much better than I expected that it will look in person. I'm in love with it, and I cannot wait to start painting this miniature because it looks great. I'm sorry, but I like it too much. So of course you're going to have a video of me painting this miniature in the channel. And as usual, if you are still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.